Good morning, everyone. It appears we have a chief quorum, and we have all wedged ourselves into our seats. So we are probably good to go. If the clerk would call the roll.
Good morning. Member Aquino?
Here.
Karpinski Costa?
Here.
Desmond? Frost?
Here.
Hume?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Lolo'i?
Here.
Maple?
Here.
Robles?
Here.
Cerna?
Here.
Swin?
Here.
Valenzuela?
Here.
Villegas?
Here.
And Sander.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Very good. If everyone would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Just kind of watched it. I know.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not everyone at once.
Very good. We did that well. All right. I think we have a statement to be read by the clerk and some public comment procedures to go over.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and Sacramento Area Sewer District is being broadcast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will replay Sunday, June 18th at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. In accordance with the Government Code 54952.3, compensation for meeting of these legislative bodies is required to be verbally disclosed. The amount of $100 will be paid for each member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, and the amount of $100 will be paid for each board member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Area Sewer District. Compensation for Sacramento County Supervisors and City of Sacramento Council members is paid to the county and city respectively to partially offset the cost of those governments. Compensation for other board members is delivered to the individuals. To make a public comment, please complete a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk. The chairperson will call your name when it is your turn to make a comment. Members of the public may listen and make public comments by calling the teleconference number 669-254-5252, entering webinar ID 161-039-5074. You may also send a written comment to boardclerk@saccounty.gov, and your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. And that concludes this clerk's statement.
All right. Very good. I think we're ready to move on to our first items.
For your consent matters today, items 1 and 2, you're acting as the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District.
Any member questions, comments? Any public comments?
We do not have any public comments and did not receive any written public comments.
All right. Open
Move
for a
consent.
motion.
Maple.
Thank you.
Motion made. Is there a second? Second. All right. Roll call, please.
Is that a second by Member Lolo'i? Thank you. Member Aquino?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can vote on the system now. Everybody's in person. Please vote.
Oh, and look, I can edit other people's votes. That's pretty handy.
Thank you. And the
Not
motion
true,
carries
not
with
true.
all members by unanimous vote. Thank you.
All right, very good. We're going on to item number 3, public comment on any item not on our agenda.
We do not have any public comments, and I have not received any speaker slips for off-agenda public comments in chambers.
All right, item 4.
Item number 4, you're acting as the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District. District separate matters. You are receiving the 2023 update of the long-term financial plan and approve the capital funding projection for the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District for fiscal years 2023-24 through 2032-33.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Tepa Banda, the Director of Finance, here to present our 2023 update of the long-term financial plan. We already have it over there. So we're presenting the long-term financial plan update and the capital funding projection. The long-term financial plan is really for the board's information, so it's a receive and file part. The other part, the capital funding plan, is for approval. In the report that you have in your packet on page 22 to 23, that's where we have the the capital funding plan, which shows all the different projects that have been planned for the next 10 years and the cost estimates for those projects. So that's what will be for approval at the end of this presentation. The last time we presented the long-term financial plan for Regional Sun was in December of 2021. We present these updates every year because the future keeps changing. Our assumptions and conditions keep changing. So we have these annual updates. We were due to present the update in December of last year, but we skipped that, and we're now presenting it about 18 months later because of all the changes that have been going on, and we didn't think we had enough, we weren't informed well enough in December to do this. And so we're presenting this one now, and we're putting them on the same schedule as the SACs were. As we move into one district, these two plans will merge. And so this year, we're kind of merging the schedule. And so later on this morning, I'll be presenting the long-term financial plan for SACSO as well. There we go. So that's the overview of what we're going to go through today. I look at some of the critical issues that pose risks and opportunities for our organization. And then we'll look at the capital funding projection, some of the assumptions that we made that inform our 10-year outlook, and then what those results look like at this point, and some of our plans in how we plan to manage our debt and related actions to that. So, as to start off, I would say, Regional Sun is in a pretty healthy financial condition and very stable at this point. Echo Water is now operational. We just had a formal kickoff, ribbon cutting just a few weeks ago. There's still a few components that are being wrapped up, but that's falling off our program. But we do have big projects coming up. Most of you are familiar with these two major projects that are about to break ground, the Harvest Water and Biogen. And so those will be coming with some significant capital requirements. And as well, we have significant cost inflation. The feds are trying, all their best to keep inflation, to bring inflation down, and that's why they're raising rates. So that's also affecting our capital costs and our operating costs. And with rising rates, we have few opportunities to restructure debt. The last 10 plus years, the district was able to do a lot of restructuring and level out the debt service, bring down debt service costs because interest rates were going down. The future doesn't look as promising, but we will still keep looking for those opportunities to restructure debt and reduce the impact on our rates. And at the end, as we go through, you'll see that we're recommending some modest rate increases over the next 10 years. Something we haven't done, I believe the last rate increase was in 2018. And so that will be about 5+ years of no rate increases for Regional Sun. Just to give an illustration of how the costs have changed, in December when we brought the long-term financial plan, if you look at the 5-year period between fiscal year 22 and fiscal year 26, and you look at that same period now, 18 months later, our costs are about $80 million more on operations. That's an average about $16 million a year, in the same time frame. So that's driving a lot of what we'll be recommending also, in a few here. And then we have, the critical issues that, are in our space, regulatory requirements. If these change, they could impose, significant costs on us for compliance, and we really can't project those. So at this point, we're assuming, the regulatory environment is stable. We could have legal challenges from different angles. Our costs are estimates, and so those might be off. Our funding, we have some funds that we expect from grants and other sources, and something could go wrong there. And so all these are different risks that we face. Climate change is also one of those where we might have drought or too much rain. One of those extremes, it would cause a problem for us and get us off course. But what I would say with all these issues that we might affect our outlook, we do have healthy reserves, and our plan here shows that we'll keep our reserves fully funded at the rates that the board has authorized. So we have reserves for asset replacement, so that would help our capital program. We have reserves for rate stabilization. We have reserves. We have unreserved cash that we could use for, and then we have a few other program-specific reserves. So I think we're in a pretty good situation to deal with any of these things that might derail our program. So the 10-year plan in the report that you have before you, it's covered on page 22 to 23, and there's a table 5 that presents a good summary of all the big projects. I think we have structured them from biggest to smallest. And if you look at that plan, it's about $1.1 billion over the next 10 years, but $1 billion of that is in the first 5 years. So it's very front-loaded. All our major projects are expected to be executed in the first 5 years. So it requires a lot of funding in the very front part of it. At this point, those are some of what we think will fund this. We have about $280 million in grant funding out there, most of that for the Harvest Water Project. And so we expect we might have to issue some bonds, about 400, maybe 300 million. We still have about 100 million we need to claim from the SRF for some of the spending we've already done on Harvest, on Eco Water. And then we'll use some pay-go revenues. That's our ongoing current revenues and cash. And then to round out the long-term financial plan, so we take our capital funding plan and we take our operating costs for this year, and we try to project our revenues and project our costs, our operating costs, and we make assumptions, and so we cover just a few of those assumptions here that inform, the 10-year outlook that we're presenting in the plan. So one of the main drivers for revenues is our assumption for customer growth. We're assuming, our connections grow about 0.5% annually. We think that's in line with housing unit growth in the Sacramento region. Between 2010 and 2020, housing growth grew about 0.4% a year. The last 3 years, from 2020 to 2023, have been a bit accelerated. I think as people have been moving to Sacramento, the rate almost doubled to 0.8. But on average, for the last 13 years, it's been about 0.6% annual growth. So we think our 0.5 is a fair estimate. And we have some cost assumptions, some cost escalation for salaries and benefits and other supplies and services. Those are in the range 2 to 4%. That's our labor increase. As you know, our COLAs that the unions just agreed is 4%. It was 4% last year. With the way inflation is staying, we think we're holding that steady throughout our projection. We're not assuming any more grant funds will be secured, but we are working to secure more funds. But to be conservative for this projection, we're assuming what we have is what we end up with. So I think we're being conservative there. There's good chances that there might be some additional grant resources secured. And then at the bottom there, we have our rate-setting targets that help us, see if we need to recommend rate increases or not. We try to maintain a debt service coverage ratio. So that's the amount of revenue that we have left to service debt after we pay off our operating costs. So that's a formula that our rating agencies and anyone who's doing financial analysis looks at. And our covenants require that we maintain a minimum of 1.2 on our senior debt. So if our revenues are falling and we're going to not comply with that ratio, then that's a trigger to raise rates so we can increase our operating revenues. And also we want to maintain full funding for our designated reserves and and maintain a positive balance on our unreserved cash. So those are some of the targets that we try to hit, and depending on where those lie, we might have some rate increases or not. And so when we put all those assumptions and our most current data on where we are today and our CFP, it looks like we might need some rate increases, moderate rate increases, over the first part of our 10-year plan. It could be between $2 and $3 the first 2 years, and maybe another $2. But I have to say, at this point, this is just analytical analysis. Before we come with an actual recommended rate increases, which is probably later in the year, we would do maybe some more, true-ups of some costs, and we'll have better, I think, estimates on some of the projects. And then there are several ways you could structure a rate increase, and we'll consider those then. So at this point, this is just indicative of what you might see coming down later in the year. And of course, driving that is, when all our cost assumptions kind of come out to about 4.6%, our bottom line operating costs will be growing at that percentage. That's what we think. Hopefully it's lower than that. Without rate increases, our revenue growth is tied to our population growth, our connection growth, which is about 0.5. So you can see that big gap between how fast our costs are growing and how revenues might grow. Of course, the bases are different. But with our projected increases in rates, we would raise our revenue growth to about 2.1%. And it's still slightly lower than revenues, and because of our cash balances, we're able to fund some of our cost growth from our unreserved cash balances. And so those sort of decline a little bit over the 10 years from about 455 to 373. But throughout this period, we will be able to maintain our debt coverage ratios, but we would still need some additional funding from grants and some of the maybe issue some bonds. I have to say our projection, our debt service that you have in your packets may be a little understated. So for the document that we put up on our website, we might have to make some adjusting estimates on our debt service. Any questions at this point? I could take questions as we go. Good. And so that sort of gives the picture of where we think our long term looks like. And so here we just talk about just some of what our principles and where our debt is. We have about $2.2 billion as principal debt as of the end of this month. Our annual debt service right now is about $126 million. A few years back, I think it's 2 years or so, the district did some restructuring, which was very beneficial to the district. But part of that, it means that our debt service is going to go up a few more in the next coming years to about 137 by 25-26. So that's about $11 million increase in our debt service. So that's part of what's driving the need for rates. But in terms of our philosophy to debt over this period, we want to limit any new issuances to just fund those capital projects. And also, the financial picture is very uncertain right now with all the movement that Fed's trying. So we might be able to restructure some debt in the next 1 or 2 years. But that we will look at those as we get there. We talk about some of that here. We do have some direct purchase agreements. I think we'll be renewing those. We have a swap. We have a couple of swaps right now that help to hedge our variable rate debt. There might be opportunities to terminate those or convert them. We have 2014A bonds that are callable next year. Depending on how interest rates are at that point, we might have an opportunity to restructure that. But all those, we're working with our financial advisor as we get closer to those debts, and we'll bring those actions to the board if we need to take any action. And as I pointed out earlier on, we're still exploring additional grant options to help our capital funding plan. And in terms of our debt issuance, we are also looking at WIFIA. WIFIA is a program run by the EPA. It's where the federal government essentially loans us money for water and wastewater projects. They have a lot of advantages, some disadvantages, but when you pair them with a bond issuance, they can get you a much better outcome in terms of your debt service and your cost of debt. So as we look to issue debt to help fund the harvest water and the Bajan, we will be looking at these options, in earnest. And so that concludes my presentation of the long-term financial plan update for this year and the capital funding projection. And my recommendation is that you receive and file the long-term financial plan projections and approve the 2023 CFP.
All right.
Any questions?
Thank you very much. Good report. Any questions?
Okay.
Sue.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you a quick question about the swaps. You mentioned that there may be some opportunities to eliminate them, terminate them. And I always viewed the swaps as a limit of liability type situation. So when you say eliminate them, do you mean refinancing out of those or restructuring out of those into new bonds that would provide a better better situation for us? Or I'm not sure I understand how eliminating the swaps would be good. I thought those were to limit our exposure. Right. And I may not understand it, so thought I would ask.
No, you're right. The swaps are, a risk mitigation tool. But so we have a couple bonds, the direct purchase bonds that have a variable rate. So our swaps right now provide a hedge against any unfavorable variability there. But if we're able to convert those issuances into fixed rate,
got it. Okay.
Then we would be able to terminate the swaps.
Sorry. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any public comment?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could, just first of all, thank you, Tepa, for the update. I guess the one thing that I would ask for, maybe as we go forward, is clearly defining what are those components of our fiscal projections that are going to directly affect ratepayers, right? So you said there's a possibility of modest increases. This board historically has taken any increase to ratepayers very seriously, and so with a modest increase, there's a range always, there's a lot of variables, and so it would probably be best if maybe with the next update that we have some sense of what those key indicators are so that we have a sense of whether or not the rate increase is becoming more real or less real based on all the variables that you've identified. I don't expect you to answer that today, but I just think anytime we're talking about rate increases, it just seems like we want to probably start to refine that sooner than later, right? So we know what those key indicators are. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I have a quick comment on that. Sorry.
Comment?
Sure. Just there's a couple of, I think, unknowns or items that aren't well known yet. One being that we're going to start getting bids in for the construction of harvest water, and as that's such a big dollar capital project that depending on how those come in, it could significantly affect our numbers. The other one is just that we've had a fairly steady increase of inflation over the years on our budgets, and this last year we had a big bump up because of all the inflationary pressures, and we don't have a good sense of how long that's going to last, or even how conservative were we with those numbers. It feels like a kind of a new environment right now, and so I feel like those are two things that are kind of more unknown. The next step in our process, though, this fall is to come back with some projected rate increases with hopefully some numbers from the bids that we've got. So you'll see those, and then what we'll probably do is propose those as some alternatives, different ways to phase them in. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thanks, Christoph. So I think the main drivers is really our costs. Where do they land? Our capital costs are big movers of that needle, and interest rates. How high do they go? Hopefully not so much high. So depending on how that changes, we'll be refining that for the proposal that we bring later this year.
All right, Director Maple.
Thank you, Chair. I have no questions, but I did want to say I just wanted to thank you for a really detailed and transparent report, 33 pages. It was not only really helpful to me as a new member of this board, but I think really helpful to the public, too, to be able to see everything that went into this, your thought process. And the only other thing I wanted to mention is really appreciate the efforts on the debt restructuring over the last several years, and really looking forward to seeing if there are more opportunities coming up. It's great to see that that has resulted in some cost savings. So just wanted to really appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you, and I would like to extend that to my team there. They've done a lot of the legwork that you see in those reports. Randy and Glenn, the finance team behind this document. So,
very good.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this matter?
We do not have anyone in Zoom, and we do not have any public comments in chambers. Did not receive any speaker requests.
Okay, we have a capital funding projection to vote on, so I am available for a motion.
This one's a receive and file, I believe. Oh, wait, it does say approve the capital fund. Sorry, I'm so sorry. You're right. You're correct.
All right, available for a motion?
I'll move adoption of the capital funding projection.
Motion made and seconded. On-screen voting about to commence.
And the motion carries by unanimous vote.
Very good. That moves us on to item number 5.
Item number 5, this is, you're acting as the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and Sacramento Area Sewer District. It is the presentation on Sewer Lifeline Rate Assistance Program report.
Welcome.
All right, well, good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Glennie Wimura, and today I'm going to be presenting the Sewer Lifeline Rate Assistance Program. So the Sewer Lifeline Rate Assistance Program provides a rebate to help eligible customers lower the costs of their sewer bill. The amount of the rebate is $150 per year for regional SAN and $25 for SAC sewer, and that's if you live in a residential home. Customers will receive less if they're in a multi-unit building such as a condominium or a duplex, or if they live in a mobile home park. If a customer is paying their utility bill through CUBS, also known as the County Utility Billing System, they will receive a credit in their bi-monthly bill. If the customer is from the contributing agencies, such as the City of Sacramento, West Sacramento, or Folsom, they'll receive a check annually once. And the added benefit of enrolling in the program is that participants will also be automatically signed up for the Sacramento County Water Agency and Sacramento County Waste Management and Recycling Lifeline Program. So if you combine all three of those programs together, you may be eligible for up to a rebate of $379 a year. So the Lifeline program for the district is part of the Confluence program, and the Confluence program is funded through non-rate and non-fee revenues such as interest earned through the district's reserve funds and endowments. The Confluence program's annual report was brought to your boards back in October of last year, which summarized the different programs the Confluence programs funds. The Confluence program funds projects that help the community and advance the district's mission and values that are outside of the scope of the district's core services. Of the projects in the Confluence program, the Lifeline program has the greatest cost at $2.3 million out of a $3 million Confluence program budget. As such, though, the Lifeline has the greatest reach to positively affect the largest number of those who live within the county. So what are the eligibility requirements? Applicant's name must appear in the bill, and they also must live in the household. Participants must also meet certain income levels or be participating in either the SMUD EAPR program or the PG&E CARE program. To be eligible based on income, the applicant's income must be at or below 200% of the federal poverty guideline. And income can be verified with pay stubs, Social Security statements, tax returns, or other financial documents. And there are some situations where a customer does not pay their sewer bill directly to CUBS or a contributing agency, but they can show proof they are paying for the service, such as with an association fee or utility payments to a mobile home park, and that may prove that they are eligible for the program. And as mentioned earlier, the district coordinates with the Sacramento Department of Waste Management and Recycling and the County Water Resources Lifeline Program. So if you applied through Waste Management or the Water Lifeline Program, you will also be enrolled in the Sewer Lifeline automatically. And every 5 years, participants will need to be recertified to stay in the program. And this is a longer period as compared to the 2 to 3 years for SMUD and PG&E's program. PG&E's Lifeline equivalent program. So this is a big benefit, especially for the seniors, as their eligibility really rarely changes throughout the years. So we try to make the application process as simple as possible. You can obtain an application through the district's website, or you can call the number 916-875-5500, and an application will be mailed. And once the application is filled out, just mail that application and any of the required income verification documents back to the program administrator. And within 1 to 2 weeks, generally be notified by mail that you're enrolled in the program. And we also are moving into a paperless option. So pretty soon, the people who are applying can scan their documents and email it. So bypassing the mail-in route. So hopefully that will also increase the time that they can get onto or decrease the time that they'll take to get onto the program. So I just wanted to provide you some of the program data for the program. Currently, there's 10,700 active accounts in the program. 2.1 million has been spent on customer service for the fiscal year 21-22. And as this current year is winding down, we anticipate that the amount spent will be fairly consistent. And then in addition to the customer rebates, we want to also point out the program has been providing rebates to the homeless shelters. So for the past 3 years, $87,000 in assistance have been provided to local homeless shelters to offset their sewer bill. And just lastly, the Sewer Lifeline program has been benefiting regional sand customers since 2005, and more recently, Sac Sewers customers since 2018. So how has the district informed the public about the program? Both Regional Sand and Sac Sewers website provide program information as well as the application. The websites of the contributing agencies have links to the district's Lifeline program. The utility bills from CUB includes contact information for the Lifeline program. And in the upcoming August bill for CUBs and the contributing agencies, a mail insert will be included providing information about the program and how to apply and learn more. Also, with the mobile home parks in the area, some applications have been provided to them so that they can give those out to the residents. And then lastly, just word of mouth. So I'm hoping that the information provided today can be passed along, especially if you run into any of the ratepayers that express concern of being able to pay for their utilities. So if you have any questions or like additional information on the program, you can contact Julie Pruitt, the Lifeline Program Administrator. And I'd also like to acknowledge and thank Julie for her dedication to the program, as she's really making the Lifeline program run as smoothly as possible, as well as the care she shows on those who's enrolling in the program. Many times the applicants are stressed out due to financial difficulties, and a friendly voice can go a long way in making the process easier. And lastly, at the bottom of the slide, I wanted to show a copy of the bill insert that will be sent out in August's bill. Communications has put a lot of effort into creating the insert and coordinating with CUBs and the contributing agencies on the timing and the distribution of the insert. This was created to make it easier to obtain information, including the use of the QR codes. And with that, I just wanted to thank the board for their continued support for the program. As you're aware, this program has provided much needed relief for our ratepayers and will be more important than ever, especially with the possible rate increases in the future. So, we try to make this application process as easy as possible, and we will continue to look for ways, additional ways to let our customers know about the Lifeline program. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions? I see Pat, you're up first.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation, Glenn. Obviously this is an important program. Turning off the sewer isn't really an option, and I'd hate to think of what solutions might be derived if we were to do that. And so then it becomes a matter of penalties and fines and things that just sort of add to the stress that you were mentioning. So it's important to have the program. But in one of the early slides, I noticed that there's a big difference between the amount of relief offered for the customers of the two different agencies. So I have a two-part question. One, why is that difference there? And two, how do we propose reconciling that difference as we look at merging the two into one agency?
Right. Well, because this program is funded by non-rate, non-fee monies, Regional SAN has the advantage that it has a larger reserve fund, and also it has an endowment when I think it was like a $10 million swap was restructured. So because of that, Regional SAN has more money to fund the program, and so that's why there's a larger dollar amount. I can see, Sac Sewer, as if the reserves and the cash balances start to rise, and we've also started to invest money outside of the county treasury pool, so that has increased the rate of return that we will potentially be getting. So that could also be a source of additional funding for the program later on. But again, the main difference because of the the disparity is just the amount of cash and interest and miscellaneous revenues that come in.
And so then post-merger, it really just becomes a matter of board priority to designate restricted funds to fund the program.
Yes.
Okay. Let me add.
Just to add on to that, the amount that we charge Regional SAN customers is about twice in the amount that we charge Sac Sewer. Sac Sewer bill right now is about $19.85 a month. Regional SAN is $37. So part of that is also scaling to the charge that we're giving a rebate against.
In one other comment on, you mentioned the merging of the boards. One of the things that we have to still do as an organization is keep the finances separate between the services that Sac Sewer provides and the services that Regional SAN provides, because they are different customer bases. So some people only get one of those services, some people get both. So it's true we'll be able to establish the priorities and the total amount. You can decide what that is, but we'll need to keep them sort of separate. So it may look like on paper that Sac Sewer one still needs to be smaller, or the local collection system part needs to be smaller.
Thank you.
Katie?
Thank you, Chair. Well, this is a wonderful program, and as someone who represents a majority low-income district, this is something that I very much look forward to getting out to my residents. And on the outreach component, I wanted to ask, does this organization ever partner and do tabling at community events? And if not, be happy to help partner on something like that.
Would Nicole be
We do a number of community outreach events throughout our service area over the course of the year, and we're actually right in the middle of that season right now. But I'd be happy to chat with you offline if there's specific events that we might be able to attend and do a table at on this topic, or many of our other outreach programs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to connect with you. And then we're also, tabling at events as well, so we can also take materials and do it on your behalf as well if you're not able to spare staff.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then my other question is, obviously it's a great program, but one of the challenges for a lot of low-income residents is not having finances up front. While the rebate is great, I wonder, has this body or board ever discussed maybe doing an upfront program for helping low-income residents versus a rebate? So assistance on the bill itself throughout the year?
This has been pretty much the standard of how we've been doing it. It's how most of the utilities do their program. So we've just been, again, we're also tied to the water and solid waste. And so, trying to do something different can complicate things as well. But, being able to work with the three agencies, the other two agencies, has been kind of nice because it's a lot easier for the, the process of, applying and being eligible for the program. So I think, doing that may complicate things. It's something that, we can obviously look into. But, one of the things is we just want to make this simple for the people that are applying to get onto the program.
If I heard your question right, were you saying giving the rebate on a monthly basis along with the bill?
Yeah, so basically on a month-to-month basis, being able to have a reduction in your bill versus getting a rebate at the end might be more beneficial for someone who's struggling financially.
I think just to clarify, that's what we do.
Okay,
for
I'm
all
sorry.
our customers who are billed through SAC Sewer, the rebate is taken off the bill. So they pay a reduced amount after the rebate.
Every time they pay.
It's only for those customers who are in our contributing agencies, like in West Sacramento or Folsom, where we don't control the bill itself. So those ones, it's after the fact, we give them a check on an annual basis. But for the majority of our customers who are in the SAC Sewer service area, they see that reduction on the bill directly.
Oh, thank you. That's a really helpful clarification. I heard getting a check back, and I assumed everybody was getting a check back at the end of the year. So thank you so much.
Sure.
I apologize. I thought you were asking about getting the money beforehand, before the bill
Oh, got
came in.
it.
So that's
Yeah.
how I was trying to answer that.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your work.
Phil?
Thank you. You mentioned in your presentation the use of Lifeline rate assistance to buy down the cost of sewer service for our homeless shelters. How much headroom do we have left in terms of the use of the rate assistance for that specific purpose, especially in light of the fact that Sacramento County is in the process of standing up in the next 7 months, 6 months, 2 safe stay sites in the south part of the county? Will we have enough available to continue that practice? And there's going to be even more opportunity, I think, in the future to grow the safe stay model across Sacramento County. So I'm interested to hear how much potential we actually have in that regard.
So when we pay out the homeless shelters, we do it after the end of the fiscal year. And so based on the activity of the prior year of how we're paying out for any of the Confluence program projects, including the Lifeline program, we'll see how much money is left, from the non-rate, non-fee revenues that we have generated. And that's how we can determine how much more or less we can, provide for the homeless shelters. So again, we are limited, just based on the revenue sources that we have. But I'm thinking, again, we're investing some of our money outside of the county pool, which will be providing higher interest rates. So there should, potentially be more money in the future to, fund homeless shelters.
As it stands now, though, is it a first come, first serve situation with sheltering?
We have established about 5 homeless shelters already that are just primarily homeless shelters. And, as they come along, we try to see if they're eligible for it. And, then we just try to add on based on available funding.
I guess what I'm asking, though, is as our infrastructure increases, hopefully, our capacity increases to shelter those that are in need, is it spread across the entirety of our shelters that are served by the district, or is it we run out of assistance based on the fact that you're continuing to fund the first shelters that enjoyed the assistance?
Let me add a little bit to this. There's a prioritization of the Confluence funding. First of all is the Lifeline Rate Assistance Program. That's funded before anything else in Confluence. And then within Confluence, the individual ratepayer assistance is first, and then there's a set aside for the homeless shelter program. We have not fully expended those funds yet. So there is cushion. I don't know how much there is. And Mike's actually going to be bringing an item forward later in the year. We can get you some more specific numbers. But when we find out about a shelter, it's hard to kind of find out about these. If we find out about them, then we can do the research and get them into the program. And so far, we have been able to accommodate all of them. Obviously, they're growing.
Yeah, well, if your staff, Christoph, don't already know or haven't talked to our Director of Homeless Services, Emily Halcon, about the timing and the process and progress of standing up at least these first 2 safe stay sites in Sacramento County, now's the time. And she can share with you also kind of a little more extended future planning in terms of expansion of our safe stay models. So I'd rather our staff at the district have that understanding sooner rather than later, so that we don't find ourselves, scratching our heads. Why don't we have enough capacity later on to continue to buy down the cost of sewer service for these important shelters?
So we can do that and basically create more of a projection, and then as that, if it looks like there's an issue there, then we can come back and see if you want to reallocate any of the funding within Confluence for that.
Thank you.
Jenna.
Thank you. Something flew by me that I didn't quite catch. What was the reference you made to qualifications based on their water service and their garbage service? Something?
Mm-hmm. So we coordinate with the water and solid waste, and basically if an applicant is qualified to be on the program for the sewer, they automatically get into the program for
Does that work
waste.
for the cities who don't contract with the county's water or county sewer?
No, because we are working in coordination with Cubs, and since Cubs is does the billing for all the 3 agencies, it makes it easy to coordinate the Lifeline program amongst those agencies.
So would you think that what percentage of the 10,000 plus enrollees are from the cities? Can you, the incorporated cities? Can you separate kind of a general percentage, because we don't get that automatic enrollment?
Right. So about 20% of the revenues are the cities or the contributing agencies that are outside of this. So I guess you can look at maybe 20% then of that 10,000, just as a quick calculation.
All right, any other questions? If not, this is a receive and file. Do we have any public comment?
We do not have any online or in person.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to item number 6.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Mike Hewitt, Director of Policy and Planning. So this is a follow-up to the discussion that we had at last board meeting about infill development board committee that we're talking about establishing. And so we're back today to recommend establishing an ad hoc committee, and that's to enhance infill opportunity and options that's within the district's control and maybe influence, and also looking at maybe some of our other opportunities regionally elsewhere to partner up with others. We suggest a committee of up to 5 county and city members that have infill and repurposing in their areas. And then we also expect this committee to probably last for about 6 months to a year. And then after that, we'd report back, the outcomes of those meetings and also recommendations, if any. So, if schedules align with everyone, we can kick this off most likely in August. And I guess at this point, we'd want to solicit, if the board is okay with that approach, we want to solicit volunteers for this committee.
Sure. We just need to avoid quorums of any kind, right? Either board.
Yeah, right.
But other than that, I'd say any member is particularly interested in infill issues.
I am.
There's an immediate 5. Let's just count those off again. It's my right.
They were first.
All right. 2 supervisors I see with hands up. We had 3 for a second, but now it's 2, so I guess that's good. Anyone else? Okay, good. We got room for one more.
The other cities, you know.
I will be one of them.
There you go.
Could the chair read off those names so that we have them?
I have, go ahead.
You have them?
I have 4. I have Cerna, Desmond, Valenzuela, and Sander. Anyone else? Villegas also? Okay.
Good. All right, I think that works by all measures.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, August for a kickoff meeting.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a vote on that.
Okay.
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded.
I have a motion by Member Cerna and a second by Member Desmond. Please vote. And the motion carries by unanimous vote of the members present.
Wow, look how
Thank
fast
you.
that is compared to roll call. All right, we're moving on to item number 7.
Item number 7 is the miscellaneous director and district engineer matters.
I'd just like to thank staff for the great event we had. Not quite a ribbon cutting, not quite an opening, not quite a groundbreaking, kind of a sign unveiling.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I think that's the best description. But it was a great event. And in particular, I think our partnership with the food providers was kind of exceptional. For events that we do, in cities, counties, organizations, that was very well executed. So congratulations to staff for that. I think we hit on all cylinders there.
Yes, special thanks to our communications department, and we have some consultants that worked on that as well. And we got a lot of good, very positive media coverage through that event.
The best social event at a sewer plant I've ever been to.
All right. Any other matters? That's going to take us on to item number 8.
Just one note from.
Go right ahead, Chris.
Yeah, just that the next board meeting in June is canceled, and our next official meeting will be July 12th. And that's it.
All right, that takes us on to item 8.
Item number 8, you're acting as the Sacramento Area Sewer District, and this is to approve an increase to the reserve fund for the upper lateral loan program.
Move approval.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the member.
Karpinski Costa.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? All right,
We do not have any members of the public to speak, and I do not have any speaker slips. This is a vote of the Sacramento Area Sewer District only, so we will have the members who are on that board please vote. Thank you. Member Villegas, you are not on that board, so you cannot vote. Sorry. I don't know if you can clear it. Let me clear it, and then I'm sorry, we'll have to have you re-vote. Thank you. Sorry.
No, that wasn't for you. That was for him.
Start over.
Okay, thank you.
We have to reissue the name badges with our assignments on them.
And
Complicated.
Awesome.
For now, it's complicated. We're about to fix it.
and the motion carries by unanimous vote with those members present. Thank you.
Not the first time.
It's easy for me. I just know I'm on both. If I was on one, this would be hard.
I toggle.
And you are moving on to item, and we did not
Item
have any
number
public
9.
comment. Sorry. Item number 9, this is, you're acting as Sacramento Area Sewer District. This is to receive the 2023 update of the long-term financial plan and approve the capital funding projection for the Sacramento Area Sewer District for fiscal year 2023-24 through fiscal year 2032-33.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning again. So this presentation will follow a similar format like the last one. So I won't try to belabor too much the intro here. So that's our kind of list of topics that we'll go through to present the SAC Sewer 2023 update of the long-term financial plan. So going to the, just to give an overview again here, Saxo is also in a pretty good financial situation. Our credit ratings is AA+, which is just one notch below the highest AAA. We have healthy cash reserves. Our designated cash reserves are fully funded. But again, we are also facing the same economic environment with costs, inflation really high and affecting our future outlook. And that's also driving some recommendations for rate increases over this 10-year period. Those are our critical issues. I think that the point here again is that we have some good reserves funded to deal with a number of these risks, and hopefully we don't have to deal with them. But I think we're in a good, resilient situation to do that. And our long-term plan ensures that we fund our reserves to handle any of these risks that might affect our performance. And this is a summary of our 10-year capital funding plan. This is the plan that we're bringing here for approval. Over the next 10 years, we're forecasting $194 million in capital spending on projects. Most of our projects are rehabs of main lines and laterals. That's the big one. We have some relief projects. These are projects that provide additional capacity as we get more infill development in our already developed areas. Some lines, some pumps, and mains need to be upgraded. So that's what that is. But here, as you can see here, similar to the regional sun, it's kind of front-loaded. Most of the costs are in the first 5 years, with the next 5 years dropping to an average of $10 million a year. Just to also highlight, we have these septic conversions where some communities are converting from septic systems to our system. Most of that cost we expect it to be funded by the state grant. There's a grant program that the state runs, and our staff have accessed and got an approval for about 80 to 90% of those costs will be funded by that grant program. So that's an overview. And for the document you have before you, our capital funding plan is discussed on page 18 to 19, and table 4 somewhat summarizes the projects, all the projects in it. For the long-term financial plan, these are our assumptions. We try to be consistent because we're facing the same economic environment on the regional sun side. So the assumptions we're making here are essentially the same. Our customer growth is 0.5%. We have a range of assumptions for cost inflation from 2 to 4%. So we earn some interest on our cash balances. Right now it's fairly high because our short-term interests are high, in the range of 4 to 5%. But we're forecasting that will come down. As you know, the Feds is aggressively raising rates to bring down inflation, but the whole point is to maybe create a mild, a soft landing, as they call it, which would in turn bring rates down. So for our 10-year projection, we're trending down back. We're assuming at 2%. But if they remain elevated, then that's just additional revenue that we would generate to offset the cost impacts. Like I mentioned before, we expect our septic conversion projects to be about 95% grant funded. And we have similar targets for our rate setting formulas. We try to maintain a debt service coverage ratio of about 2. That's about the industry average. And Saxo has had much higher ratios before. Right now, it's still more than 3. So we have capacity, and that's why we're able to just have lower minimal rate increases than we would have, because we have some room to go down to 2, but we would like to keep it at 2 as a floor. And all in all, we expect some rate increases still maybe 2 years out. This coming year, 23-24 and 24-25, we think we're still in a good shape to absorb the cost increases. But from 25-26, it looks likely that we would have to have some rate increases. As you can see, our operating costs are growing much faster than our revenue, our natural growth in revenues. And so with what we're projecting as rate increases, we would bump up our revenue growth to about 3.3%. But to fund all this increasing capital, increasing costs, would need a mix of our own cash balances, which is why they are there, to help moderate rate increases. And so we see that balance drawing down to about 104 at the end of the 10-year period. So we're able to maintain our coverage ratios, and we do not anticipate issuing any debt to fund our capital plan for Sac Sewer. So that's something that we're very proud of, and the direction that's been set before has helped us to be in this position. For debt, Sac Sewer has significantly less debt, about $161 million by the end of this fiscal year. Our annual debt service is about 13.6. We do get some subsidy from the BABS bonds that were issued a few years back, about $2.2 million annually. We don't anticipate issuing debt. We should be able to fund our capital plan using our unreserved cash, our pay-go revenues. But for the debt that's sitting on the books, we have some opportunities to restructure that, and we'll be looking at those. And if something comes up, we would be able to bring it to the board for approval at that point.
Does the current interest rate environment impact that outlook?
In terms of refunding opportunities, yes.
Refinancing? Yeah.
We have some bonds that are maybe callable in 2025, 26, so that's still 2 years out. Not so sure how things will change. They seem to be changing so fast these days. But for all our debt on the Sac Sewer side is fixed rate, so it's not affecting our debt service on the current debt, but it would affect if we have to do some restructuring and then since we're not proposing any new debt, so we're less affected, I would say, on the Sac Sewer side by the interest rate environment than we are on the Regional Sun.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And so for the near future, we'll do what the district has been doing pretty well, managing operating expenses and reserves to make sure we can fund our program capital and operations without borrowing new money. And we will look for opportunistic situations to either refund or restructure our existing debt, and keep monitoring our environment and keep the board posted so we could help make the right decisions going forward. With that, I conclude this presentation, and I think there will be an action item to approve the capital funding plan. Thank you.
Good. Darren.
Any questions?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the information. Just a quick question on the assumption for cost increase, about 2 to 4% inflation. Given what we've heard about past presentations on the sharp increase in cost for chemicals and things, is that you think that 2 to 4% is reasonable?
So our current costs right now have already taken in most of that.
I see.
The big increases that we've had in the chemicals are already reflected in our baseline cost. So this is going forward.
Okay.
We're hoping that it's good enough because already inflation is showing signs of tapering down, and so we're being somewhat optimistic that over the long term it will average out back to closer to the 2% on services and supplies, and maybe 4%. So maybe it's less than 4% on our services and salaries. That's what we're assuming. But it's been 2% for a good chunk until the last few years. So we think if we are lower on salaries and benefits, that high assumptions may offset If services and supplies is a little bit more than 2% or 3%.
I see.
So,
okay. Thank you for the elaboration.
Thank you.
All right, Phil?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If there's no public comment, no further questions or comments by board members, I would move approval of the 2023 SAC-SEWER 10-year capital funding projection.
Second soon.
Thank you very much.
And we do not have any public comment online or in person.
All right, please vote.
Thank you. And the motion passes by unanimous vote of the members present.
All right, we then have items 10 and 11, which are receive and file. And that is it for our agenda today. We are going to be adjourned until our August meeting. Is that correct?
July.
I'm sorry, July
July
meeting.
12th.
Wow, I was really skipping ahead. July meeting. So I will hope everyone enjoys their 4th of July holiday, and we will see you later in July.